Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the world's premier podcast featuring Drew Munhausen. I am Drew Munhausen.
It's me, Drew Munhausen, and I'm happy to be here today. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I can't wait to talk to you about Starfield. It's all I've devoted my entire life to.
And I'm the real Drew Munhausen, uh, the media movie mastermind or something like that. Drew Munhausen here to talk about all of the stuff on episode 103, Fresh Out the Podcast. How are all of you doing today, other than playing Starfield a lot, Gary?
Um, is there another? What do you mean, how am I doing besides that? That's all I'm doing. That's it. There is no besides that.
I know that Jahan has already abandoned Starfield. He's cast it away into the ether.
He has. He
Ether.
picked. So Thomas and I were having this conversation. I thought there would be a good run this year for Game of the Year, but I haven't played Baldur's Gate yet. So Jahan says it's not close. He says it's Baldur's Gate season, and I think it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be a good run.
To be clear, I haven't said this out loud or anything. It's just my actions, I suppose. So I like Starfield a lot. I have issues with it. Honestly, after playing it for a little longer, I think I'm happy with a 7 out of 10 on that one. I feel like it underperforms expectations a little bit in certain areas. It is really good. It has a lot of those Bethesda qualities we all love, but dude, Baldur's Gate is nuts. So
I was gonna say I can't judge Baldur's Gate. Like I can't be like, because I haven't played it. Simple as that. I haven't played it. It's not on my console of choice yet. It will be before the end of the year, supposedly. So I'm hoping to get some good time playing it in the late fall, early winter. So I'm ready to be impressed by that game. And I'm also looking forward to Spider-Man 2 that comes out in October. So there's other games that could be Game of the Year candidates for me, but I'm really enjoying Starfield. But it's been kind of a barren wasteland for me from a gaming front anyways, other than Diablo, which I like Starfield more than Diablo, and Final Fantasy 16, which I really enjoyed.
I was looking for how many hours I played. I couldn't find it on my phone. I should have taken a screenshot before I came down, but I know it's definitely over 3 days, so we're over 72 hours, and it's probably close to 80. I would think I probably put close to 80 hours into Starfield. I'm ready to play Baldur's Gate myself. I'm ready for it to come out. There's no reason I can't have both. No reason I can't play both. Looking forward to sinking my teeth into it. But as a Bethesda guy who loves Bethesda games, it's been, I put hours into it already, so I can confidently say, I believe this in my heart of hearts, that that Starfield's one of my top favorite games of all time. I do believe that.
I've put about 40 hours into it, and it's definitely well, it's my favorite Bethesda game since Skyrim, but there haven't been that many Bethesda studio games since then, but no, I like it a whole lot. I did while we're on this topic, before we move on to the other news I want to talk about. I meant to talk about this last week on our actual Starfield episode, but to go revisit some of our Fresh Out the Podcast predictions, some fresh predictions, because there were two to address. One, Gary had made a prediction back in July that Starfield would not be last minute pushed or delayed. Obviously, that didn't happen because the game is out and we played it, and if anything, we got early access. So that was a correct
I get
guess
a
on
win
Gary's
in
part.
one hand, and I get a loss in the other hand. So somebody give me a fork so I can eat these words.
The other one was that in May you had predicted it would be a disappointment and that it would be too empty and too pointless. Was your full prediction, and obviously it's not a disappointment for you because it's one of your top games of the year. But the too empty part is interesting because there are a lot of parts of the game that are empty, but seemingly by design. So like it's not a complaint for me to say that, but there definitely are some empty parts of it. What do you
I
think,
would,
Gary?
yeah, for sure there are, by design, huge empty vastness of space. But yeah, I find myself, when I'm surveying a planet, it's not fun. There's not a lot to do there. the animals aren't doing anything. You know, they either attack you when you get close or they don't, and that's about it. There is like a huge lack of environments. I don't think I've seen any waterfalls or real forests or anything. So yeah, I think the game is super, empty and disappointing on that scale of I'm gonna go explore planets, and really they sort of all just look the same. They have the same kind of gas vent. They have the same rock covered with different kind of rocks. So I think it's funny. I'll eat those words. You know what I mean? The cities feel great. They're a lot of fun, and the game is fun. But there are definitely people I think who would say the game feels empty and pointless, and I don't like it. But I'm not that guy. So I'll eat those words because to me it isn't.
Yeah. I mean, I've given it some time. I'm intending to go back and play more. I'll definitely make a lot more progress before the end of the year. So maybe it'll actually battle out for game of the year for me, but I don't think it will. Mostly because, I mean, kind of what you're saying, like they promise us like 1,000 like explorable planets, all this stuff. It's kind of just copy pasted textures and maps and dungeons, like
It's like different combinations of the textures, dungeons, and gravity.
It's
so
different
like you might
combinations
go to one,
of the same shit over and over again.
Deep Rock Galactic did this years ago. They're an indie company. They did it years ago. Their game is super fun and arguably more interesting with the types of environments that are spawned because they've been able to focus on it.
Yeah, you can explore a lot better in that game. It's just, I don't know. I have my issues with it. It's hard for me to say that I would put Starfield ahead of Baldur's Gate 3 or even Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom also blew my mind. I feel like the issue, once again, is just like Cyberpunk. Like, why are you promising all this shit? Like, just play stuff close to the vest, show people a couple teasers, maybe a little gameplay, and then let people find out how good the game is instead of over-promising, under-delivering, and trying...
I'm pushing back on you here, only because I don't feel like they over-promised with Starfield. I feel like they said exactly what they were doing. It's the fan hype train that gets out of control and the fans want and want and want, and then they're like, it's gonna be this, and it's what fans start imagining, and then it's not that, and they feel disappointed. I feel like they said exactly what it was gonna be.
Maybe a little bit, but like maybe the studio, sure, but Microsoft has been hailing this as like this is their crowning jewel. This game's gonna blow all other games out of the water, and like
they have to.
I guess.
And it's the best Xbox exclusive that they've had in years. So I'm pro that. I think it's the right approach for them.
That's literally the job of the marketing team also, is to tell you that this is the biggest, best, and it's going to outperform. That's what marketing has to do. And I think that it does. To me, it reminds me a lot of Outer Worlds, except just better all across the board, but really is sort of the same game. It's like if Outer Worlds was just a planet in Starfield.
See, I didn't like Outer Worlds, so maybe that feeds into this a little bit.
And I did
like Outer Worlds, and I like Starfield more than I liked Outer Worlds. I'd say at this
Agreed.
point, I can say that comfortably. And I think I just feel like I know we're getting off the beaten path a little bit with this. Just to plug, if you want to listen to our full first impressions of Starfield, we have like a whole hour dedicated to it released last week. Go listen to that. This is just some quick follow-up, but I feel like, and this is coming from the perspective of an Xbox gamer, like I primarily play on my Xbox. I own a PS5. I play PS5 exclusive games there, but I primarily play my Xbox when it comes to multi-console things. And with the console wars, which I hate, and I think the console wars are extremely toxic, and all the discourse around it is really silly.
True.
That being said, whenever it is an Xbox exclusive, something exclusive to Xbox, I feel like people like to, I say people, like a lot of the hardcore overly online fandom really likes to gang up on that. And when Starfield starts coming out and there's a few outlets giving it 7s, you've got this other side of the gaming sphere that's not primarily Xbox users that are celebrating that. It's not the great exclusive you all wanted. It's not that good. It only got a 7, when like a 7 is actually really good. But still, like you kind of get that side of it. And I kind of feel like that's the funny thing though, is since then, Starfield for me is like dominating social media. Like if I go on TikTok, every other TikTok is like different Starfield ships that people have designed or things that they're doing in their game, like the crazy outposts they've done or ships they've built. And maybe that's just my algorithm, but this is a game that has made its way onto like TikTok trends and things like that, which I feel like when a game does that, it means it has breached the culture somewhat. And so I do feel like a lot of the people who were quick to hate on it or wanting it to fail are the people that are either secretly playing it or all are going to play it, or they are, you know, sad that it's not on their console of choice. I don't know. I just feel like if a PlayStation exclusive comes out to mediocre reviews, it's okay. They move on. They've got a big Spider-Man game coming out in the fall. When Starfield comes out and gets a lot of 8s and a couple 7s, they're quick to be like, "Ha ha, this is a failure." And like, it's not. It's not.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
I agree. And to your point, I don't know what PlayStation exclusives came out this year. I don't know which ones were good. I don't know which ones were bad, and I don't really care. But it does seem like Xbox gets a whole lot more attention. Like they're waiting for the good Xbox game. It's like, I mean, okay, if you're going to scrutinize every single thing that comes out and act like every single thing needs to overperform, I love Starfield. You know, like I said, one of my favorite games of all time. Great game. And if they keep making more Bethesda titles, which, you know, I don't know why they would stop, I'm in. I'm all about it. I'm a Bethesda guy. I always have been since I was in like 5th grade and played Morrowind the first time. It almost feels like I'm playing the same game, the same system, the same thing with just layers and puzzle pieces added on top of it. There's something really nice about playing a Bethesda game.
I actually
I think
feel
I'm just surprised. It's surprisingly deep with the customization and ships and outposts, and that's a lot of stuff that I don't even really dabble with, but it's cool knowing it's there.
yeah, I haven't really messed with it either. I don't know. So I'm not saying it's a bad game by any means. Like I still give it a 7.
Oh, I know.
And I'm just saying, like, I don't feel like it's game of the year personally. But what you're saying about it being like, I'm a Bethesda guy too. This to me feels like it's missing something from the Bethesda formula personally. But I'm just not sure what it is. I don't know. It's I need to give it more time. I played those other games for like 100 hours. You know.
So
like,
I've noticed that, like, as I level up, as I get more skills, even things like shields for the ships, you get conversation options. Even, you know, for crafting, you get extra conversation options. Every skill you pick matters somewhat. So I can see Starfield being very replayable as you get more skills and go through the storyline. And I think we've figured out you get to keep your skills as you progress through to the next campaign. So yeah, I think that does add some really cool replayability. That thing that you're looking for me, for Bethesda games like Fallout and Skyrim, I'm looking for those extra options from my character build.
Yeah.
And it seems like the more I play and the deeper I get, the game's going to continue to reward me.
I'm definitely still very interested in seeing where they go with the DLC.
Today I had to do a mission where I had to steal a security uniform to sneak in on the first level, and then I switched to a science uniform on the second level because it was engineering, and people kept questioning why I was down there, so then that worked. And then on the third floor, I put on a pilot's costume uniform, and was like, yo, I'm the pilot. And all of that mattered, and was I mean, it was part of the quest, but it was still really cool, really fun gameplay stuff.
It's pretty cool.
So
yeah.
it's in there, man. Those quests are in there. They're fun. They're detailed. I'm just having a blast after 80 hours, dude. It's still giving. And I was talking to Drew. He did the full like Space Ranger quests, and he did the UC Space Marine stuff. I didn't touch that. I didn't touch it. I still haven't touched it. I haven't played it. There's still that much more content. There's 2 more campaigns I haven't even thought about yet. And I'm mostly at the end game content. I'm wondering if I should end game and then come back and do those with my second playthrough, or if I should just cram them all in the first playthrough. I don't know, but that's where I'm at, man. I'm just having so much fun.
I'm with you. Like, I don't want to get too much of the spoilers, but just where the story goes, I'm getting close to that in-game part 2, and I'm like, I don't know what the new game plus is going to look like in this game, so I'm kind of hesitant to end it and save stuff for after. Like, I'm sure you can go back to it, but I just kind of want to clear it all just to be safe and then finish the game.
Exactly. I don't want to get like stuck having to get all the way back through the campaign to get some achievements that I could have easily gotten right now while I'm fully, beefed, caked out.
Right.
But But I guess someone's gotta do the Unity first. Maybe I'll do it. I'll let you know how it looks.
Well, I do want to push through because we could probably, Gary and I in particular, could talk about Starfield for a long time because it's been dominating a lot of our free time lately. But I wanted to talk about something else, and I have here on our notes, it's a general note that says concert films. Jahan already kind of knows what I'm going to get into here, but Gary, I'm think this is going to be news to you, but I'm ready to dive into some interesting movie topics here. First off, are either of you a fan of concert movies? Like, have you watched many concert films before?
I watched some of the like what went wrong with Woodstock '99 or whatever stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to figure out exactly what you mean by concert
I
movies. I
don't
think what you
mean
mean, I think what you mean is just like a live concert on DVD,
correct.
just like a live
Correct.
show.
Like, a good example is they did so the highest grossing concert film worldwide is Michael Jackson's This Is It, film that came out in 2009, and it made about $261 million worldwide. Domestically, if I remember correctly, the highest grossing concert movie domestically, I believe, is Never Say Never, the Justin Bieber 3D concert film that came out in 2011. Yes, it made $99 million at the box office, so there you go. And so a lot of times it's like, it does have backstage interviews and things like prep of the show and so on, but then there's a lot of footage, like live footage from the show. That a lot of bands release concert footage or concert films sometimes straight to Blu-ray or streaming or things, but they don't all get theatrical releases.
So, I have very limited on this. I grew up in a house full of music and full of live concert DVDs on all the time. That's pretty much all my dad watched nonstop, 24/7 on the back deck. I'm not super interested in sitting around watching concerts of live shows. It's not. I like music, man, but it's not my thing generally. That being said, I did own two. I've watched them multiple times. I cherished them. One was Slipknot, and I think it was Disaster Pieces, but it was a Slipknot live show where Joey Jordison had the drum kit that raised up, leaned forward, and spun around while he did his drum solo. Super sick stuff. The other one was an Avenged Sevenfold album. I think it was Nightmare. Right after the Rev died, I was super into Avenged Sevenfold and bought their stuff. So those were the two for me. So rock shows with big set pieces. That's something that's gonna get my attention.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
bring
really like concerts where I can get someone else's blood in my mouth. So
that makes this story even better for this audience. Because there's a new concert film that has just been announced that is coming to theaters in October. On October 13th, Friday the 13th, which was previously home to the release of the new Exorcist movie, I believe, the Exorcist Believer, which Friday the 13th in October, a prime release date for a new Exorcist movie, The Exorcist Believer. So it was home to that movie coming out that weekend. Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour concert film, has now been announced for that date. And hours after that was announced, The Exorcist Believer, they said, we're just going to move forward a week up to October 6th. So they have abandoned that date because the Taylor Swift film is supposed to be a pretty big heavy hitter. And here's what I want to talk about this, because I know like this isn't really what we normally would talk about, but here's what I find to be so fascinating about this. Gary is like rubbing his head in like stress and
I'm
disgust.
just like, what? Okay, so in my mind, and I guess I'm wrong. I'm sure they have an analyst who ran the numbers and projections.
I
But in
agree
my
with
mind,
you
that's great.
already.
Yeah, in my mind, that's exactly the weekend. It's great because your people, your parents, and everybody goes to see The Exorcist. You drop the girls off and the kids off to go see Taylor Swift. Meet up back outside, wham bam, go catch some dinner and go back home for a sleepover.
Perfect
Whatever, man.
counter. The counter programming argument.
It's the counter program. It's perfect.
I mean,
It's Barbieheimer. It's Octoberheimer. You know, it's exactly what it is. It's one for the kids and it's one for the family and one for the adults. Boo, boo! What a bad choice. But
I feel
like I
like there's
said,
not a lot of crossover. Like, I don't feel like those movies compete at all.
correct. That I'm with you. And you know, but like, there's an analyst, right? That's literally his job was to go into the office that day and tell them, pull this, move it. The numbers show you need to. And I think that's ridiculous. But maybe okay, maybe I'll talk myself out of it. Maybe the whole point is to release Exorcist so that there's some buzz around it by next weekend, so that the adults will see it and drop their kids off at Taylor Swift. Maybe they just want to release earlier to create some buzz to the 13th. I don't know.
The thing that I find really fascinating about this concert film is, okay, so Taylor Swift had 3 LA shows earlier this year, all I guess around the same weekend, and during the 3 LA shows, that's when they filmed this film. So that's when they all the footage from those 3 performances are what are going to be edited and put together to make this film, a 3-hour film that's going to be out in theaters. And here's the thing: Taylor Swift and her team, just for lack of better terms, presented this to the studios and basically said, who's going to distribute this? And went to the different studios, and the studios gave their offered their deals and their terms. And after hearing, I guess, from all the studios, Taylor Swift said, no thanks, don't like those terms. She went to AMC theaters directly.
Oh boy.
And is doing direct distribution and skirting the studio system, which has probably angered the studios. I don't know. But essentially that means she's going to have more of a direct line to profits through the theaters and going around the studios. So she's good at making money, which makes sense. This tour is already a record-breaking tour. That's the first tour, I believe, to break $1 billion grossed, which of course she doesn't get all of that money. But this has been a huge mega tour, and AMC has agreed. They've worked out a deal. It's going to be in all the big theaters, and also a lot of the smaller theater chains are trying to get their hands on this as well. What's crazy is that I understand Taylor Swift is a huge megastar, like one of the biggest names in music currently, and this era's tour is ginormous. Apparently the advanced ticket sales for the Thursday showings of this movie have already reached $26 million, according to AMC, which is a new record. The previous highest single day ticket sales record was Spider-Man No Way Home, that had 16.9 million. And they're already saying that this movie, which kind of blows my mind, they're estimating it's going to make at least $100 million domestic in its opening weekend, which that's how much the Justin Bieber movie made in its entire run. So Taylor Swift's movie is set to break that record in its opening weekend. It could even make more than that. But I guess that there's tons of people who didn't get to go to this concert that are going to pay to go see it in theaters. And all the Swifties that went and saw the concert are also going to pay to see this again. And it's just going to make bukus of money, apparently, and which is why the Exorcist movie said, I'm getting out of the way of this, want no part of it, come out a weekend earlier, which, again, I agree with y'all. I don't know if that was the best choice. This could be good counter programming, or even they could go for they could market it to that effect, like use that to their advantage, similar to how the Barbenheimer trend blew up. But I can't remember. Is there any other music star that could do something like this? I would say the answer is probably no. Maybe Beyonce.
What about Bad Bunny? What about an international star? Somebody that's not just a local, somebody that could draw all over the world.
Absolutely. Bad Bunny is a huge deal. I know of Bad Bunny more so from his appearances he's made in WWE, which is kind of funny, but I know that he's like a mega star as well.
Yeah, he's bigger than WWE, which is cool because I'm with you. When he comes there, I'm like, oh, cool, they're pulling in a pop star. But the reality is he's bigger. He's he's it in South America. He's it in 60% of the world. People love Bad Bunny. So, maybe wouldn't pull American numbers like that, but surely there's an international star who would do something like that. Maybe somebody, she's way past her time, of course. But I was thinking somebody like Madonna or Celine Dion might be able to do a show like that.
I just don't know yet if I'm gonna make myself go see this in theaters as the theater completionist that I am. I don't know if I could do a 3-hour Taylor Swift concert film in theaters. No, not particularly.
Your wife a Swiftie?
No, definitely not.
I don't know why you would do it.
I'm totally floored. I'm totally floored by this. That Taylor Swift. I live in a different America, I swear. I don't live in the America where Taylor Swift concerts or like movies of concerts of Taylor Swift sell out and pack up the theater. That's crazy. I didn't know that's the world I lived in. I thought maybe like Lady Gaga wouldn't surprise me as much if you had said that. But
I feel like they're pretty comparable.
It's weird to me how big Taylor Swift is because she is not in my life. I don't think I'd recognize her. I don't think I'd recognize a Taylor Swift song, like maybe like one of the big ones, But like you could play Taylor Swift and I would probably never guess. It's just I live in a totally different world from that.
It's just crazy that we're looking at a possibility where this film's going to come out in October and be one of the top 10 grossing films of the year, that it could make over $100 million in its opening weekend, which is more than some of the big MCU releases have made in their opening weekends this year. And I don't know. It's just the power of Taylor Swift is
well, that's why the MCU grabbed her and they're going to make her play Dazzler.
I remember when that was a rumor. Like an actual rumor. I think it was.
It was, yeah, it definitely. I think it is a rumor still.
I was like, oh, is that true? I mean, bro, the new X-Men is Bad Bunny and Taylor Swift.
Hell yeah. Who'd Bad Bunny be?
Nightcrawler.
Oh, there is a part of me though that's, we saw Dune Part 2 got delayed to 2024, so at least there's another big movie filling, October that could make a lot of money. It's good for theaters, so I guess that's a silver lining. But yeah, man, the power of Taylor Swift is it's pretty intense. Pretty intense. So I can assume that neither of you were part of that $26 million in ticket pre-sales.
No, sir.
It's safe to guess.
No.
There are several other concerts I would rather go to.
You see,
I got no problem with her.
If those tickets would have been available for purchase at a terminal in Starfield, then I might have purchased them. But if they're not available for purchase in New Atlantis, then I'm not going to find it.
Friend of the show, Connor surely bought at least 6 or 7 of these tickets. I'm sure of it.
Robert and Riley probably have 20 tickets, 30 tickets.
Apart from the fact that Taylor Swift has one of the largest private jet carbon footprints of anyone in the entire world, I don't really have any other issues with her. If she could just rein that in a little bit, I think we'd be great.
Well, that's it with that. Anything else that y'all want to add on this topic?
Drew, Justin is a big fan of T Swift. Justin and Lee.
Oh, yeah.
You should see if you could get them to go see it, because then it would be worth going to see.
Is that real?
Yeah, it is real. They're huge Swifties.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, going to see it with them, I think you'd probably have a really good time.
That's actually a really good idea.
I want to go ahead and say to the people listening that you can like Taylor Swift. I just think it's weird that they do.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
they're weird too. Peace Swifties. I don't know.
But yeah, you should. I would buy Justin's ticket if I could go to the movie with him. You know what I mean? That would be it would be great enough just to hear him sing along and laugh and have a good time. Yeah, that sweet little fellow.
Alrighty. Well, that being said, we can kind of move on to our fresh picks of the week, which, I'm looking at our lists, and it's Gary and I both have Starfield. All 3 of us have Ahsoka. Kind of a wasteland besides that. So I'd say let's just do Ahsoka. Talk briefly about that first, since that's something we've all watched. Which I
did
know
I
we've talked
watch-
about it a little bit.
Did I watch this? I do this every time with a Star Wars show. Did I watch last week's episode? Is it the one where she stepped out on the wing?
No, that was the third one. That was the one before.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
I'm not sure if I saw 4. I feel like I did. I feel like I watched 4 and was like, damn, I'm all out of episodes. That's all right, man. Let's
Did you
get
see
into
two people lightsaber fight over a star map?
it. Yes. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay,
And the ending was a big social media moment, if you know what I mean.
Dare I say it was a cliffhanger?
correct. You did see it. Okay.
It was. Yeah. So, how are y'all feeling about Ahsoka? Have thoughts changed? I know when we talked about the first 2 episodes, we were all kind of lukewarm on it, but like optimistic. Are feelings still the same? Has it improved? Gotten worse? What are your thoughts?
Ahsoka's only gotten better as it's gone on. The characters are developing nicely. I like all the characters. I like the Jedi droid. I think he's a cool character. I didn't realize it was David Tennant. That makes me happy. And I like Ahsoka, and I can't remember her name, but her apprentice's relationship. Sabine, yeah. That's pretty fun. It's interesting to see a completely like green Jedi Padawan being like useful in combat situations, and also, I mean, holy shit, the Ahsoka fighting out in space to try and protect the ship was the coolest shit ever. They never go out in space ever. I've always thought that it's weird that they don't do spacewalks in Star Wars ever, and then they did one, so I was like, okay, that's cool.
I really feel like if I was flying a fighter pilot and you were moving in 0G, I would plow you at like 800 miles an hour and you would die. But those pilots weren't that good for her. Good for her. Good for Ahsoka.
I feel like when you have the Force, you could do some stuff. And she
Only
cut
one
one
of
of
those
those. She cut one of the planes in half.
Only one of them was worth a damn. Yeah, the other, and that was the what, Shin, is that her name?
Yeah, Shin. I think her name's Shin. Or
She
Shine.
was pretty. Yo, did you see the armor guy? What the hell happened to the armor guy? Did you guys see that?
I think he was some sort of gas creature that was contained in the suit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was strange.
Bugs? Is he like bugs or gas or something? Is he still? What was that? What happened?
I'm not part of the hardcore Star Wars Discord on this stuff, but apparently there are a lot of fan theories as to like who that character was under the mask and all, and that like he was just like that was it. He was just a guy, I guess, who was like a gas guy.
Okay. So the lady, the bad guy lady, what's her name?
This is the bad part with us talking about this. We're like, what? Who's that? What's her name? I don't know.
There's too many new names, and
I already know who you're talking about. Are you talking about
the witch?
The witch, yeah, the witch of Draenmore or whatever. Like, what if he's like some sort of dark magic like construct from the dark? Like, if they start doing stuff like that, that is what I've always wanted in Star Wars. I've always wanted, because like she's bringing magic. We don't really experience magic in Star Wars, you know, like they don't really touch it, but it exists, and it has, and like hers has to do with the dark side.
They've been making stuff move with their minds since the 70s.
That's pretty cut and dry. That's pretty cut and dry Force using, but she has some sort of like dark side witchcraft, which is different, and I think it's going to be the focus of Acolyte, and I'm very interested in that. It's very exciting to me. And I think maybe he was a dark magic construct.
Aren't the witches of blah, 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 aren't they known for riding Rancors?
Yeah. She's one of the Rancor rider people. Yeah, you're right.
They used to be like Rancor riding witches. Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, Morgan. Her name's Morgan.
But I'm about it, Drew. I gotta side with Jahan on this one, that magic and the Force are different. And what I'm gonna say here is, it's like a monk in D&D. You know, you got monk magic, that's fine, but it's not the same as arcane magic. It's not the same as like reading a spell book. The Jedi are really calm and studied and focused, and so are the Sith in their own way. They're like battling monks using monk magic, which they call the Force.
What a bunch of
I think it's
giant
missing that
nerds you
arcane.
all are.
Dude, it's exciting. They're changing. They're doing new Star Wars stuff, which they never do new Star Wars stuff. It's always the same. Like it's not even. They're always blowing up a spherical base capable of horrible destruction. That's every plot of every movie. And now
I
like,
just
it's different.
I just still wish I agree. I like a lot of the new things that they've shown in this show, and I just wish it was happening with characters that I personally was invested in or cared about. And I get it. You know, these are from the animated show and yada yada. And if you watched all that, you have more history. But still, like, if you're making this new live action show that you're trying to reach a new audience, I feel like they should have done more to really make me care for these characters. Because as of right now, I just don't that much. But like that being said, the action in this most recent episode, I personally think is some of the best action they've had in the Disney era of Star Wars, period.
That's
Like,
probably true. Yeah.
of
The
everything that
lightsaber
they've done.
fight with
Sabine.
with Balin, with
Oh,
Lord Balin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
Ahsoka.
the one later. Yeah, the one later with Balin. His form looked like, to me, maybe I'm wrong a little bit, but it looked a lot like classic medieval longsword stance and longsword fighting. It looked like he fought with it like traditional, like you would really fight with a longsword. There was something really powerful about the way that he fought. And I was talking to my wife, Annie, as we were watching it, and I was like, isn't there just something about him that screams, I swing a lightsaber harder than you? Like,
Oh
it doesn't
yeah,
matter
that
who,
guy is a beast.
yeah, it doesn't matter who you are, but no matter who you are, that guy swings a lightsaber harder than you do. And it looked that way when he fought, too. It was a great fight.
It's a good fight, man.
Having Balin be the kind of villain he is, too, he was truly a dark side villain. He's not like Kylo Ren, where he would strike you down. Or Balin's really about the give in to your anger. Feed the manipulation. I am your friend. There's no reason for us to quarrel. I love that Sith. That's
Yeah,
a totally
he's
different
like
kind of.
Satan. It's crazy.
Yes,
Way more
he-
manipulative in that way.
He's very commanding and terrifying, and he might be Balin might be one of my favorite on-screen Lord Sith I've seen in a long time. I even I had a conversation out loud like, okay, so a Lord is lower than a Darth. A Darth is a promotion. And Darth Maul to me seems like such a little punk ass compared to Lord Balin. Because Lord Balin is doing the thing. He's manipulating. He's behind the scenes. He's about to resurrect. He's bad to the bone. And Darth Maul doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything. He just gets sent around like a puppet by the Emperor until he gets killed. I don't think he deserves a Darth. And
True, but
I do think Lord Balin's a little bit more bad to the bone.
according to some
He's
of
a little.
the deeper lore I've read on Maul, he is supposedly the greatest to ever do it with the lightsaber. Supposedly.
I just know he comes back with cool spider legs and the animated stuff that I don't watch.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he's got like metal spider legs in
So
the
he
future.
becomes a Drider from Dungeons and Dragons? That's really cool.
Yeah, because he got his legs chopped off by Obi-Wan, so he's got to come back with mechanical legs.
Wasn't there
That's
a
what he
teaser
does.
for that at the end of Solo or something? Didn't one of those
He had
movies-
already been in the Clone Wars animated show, and then in Solo, a Star Wars story, there is a cameo by Maul at the end of that movie, and if
Yeah.
you look in the hologram, he does have the metal legs,
Yeah.
if you look closely.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm a Maul guy. I thought I remembered that. Maybe but I could have dreamt it.
You're a
Yeah,
Maul rat.
I mean, I am a Maul rat. So I'm just gonna say, even as a Maul guy, right? I'm coming from a place of Maul. Let me tell you that. I'm coming from Maul Central. I'm mauling right now. If you look for anybody who mauls, no mauls harder than I do. I just think maybe he
Hashtag
should have been
Maul
awarded
in.
hashtag
That-
Maul life. Maul in. Maul out. I'm all out with my balls out. Anyway, I think he probably should have been a Lord and not a Darth. Lord Maul probably, and that's maybe he becomes a Darth later after he gets his spider legs or whatever and becomes more bad to the bone. But what I saw on screen is a Lord Maul, maybe what I saw on screen is a Darth Balin. You know what I'm saying?
There's one thing I want to say too about Disney and what they do with their streaming shows that kind of bugs me. They've always kind of done this. They do it with their movies too. And it's like I get it, but it's also annoying. So like they will do this thing where if there is a release like a special thing that happens in an episode, maybe it's like a cameo or some sort of spoiler, they'll have here's an example, right? Going back to Shang-Chi, when Marvel and Disney released Shang-Chi in theaters, a big surprise in that movie was when Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery shows up midway through that movie with his little like strange alien pet creature. And about maybe 2 to 3 weeks after Shang-Chi had released in theaters, Disney released the character posters that they had for Trevor Slattery and so on, which they didn't release before the movie because it's kind of a spoiler, but they'll do it after the fact. They do this same thing with their TV shows, but the time frame is way shorter. Like for example, they did it in I can't remember which of the shows. Like I want to say She-Hulk or something had like a cameo too, and they had the character poster for a character in that they released after. So I hadn't watched Ahsoka yet, the new episode of Ahsoka, by like Thursday of last week. And I start seeing this new poster that was released that spoiled the ending of Ahsoka for me because they basically had spoilers for the ending of episode 4 of Ahsoka, where Ahsoka ends up in like what do they call it, the world between worlds or something like that, where she's like I don't know if she's dead or not dead.
Oh yeah.
And she sees Anakin. And so like a day or two after this episode premiered, they released a new poster and like Anakin is standing behind Ahsoka in it. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess Anakin's in the most recent episode of Ahsoka, which I hadn't watched yet because the poster was official from Disney. So I'm like, great. They spoiled it for me because I didn't watch it in its first, 48 hours of being released. So I guess that's on me, but I just think that marketing tactic is silly.
Fair. I agree. I hate spoilers too. Yeah, dude, that was a crazy ending to that. Hayden Christensen returns as Anakin and confronts her in this space between. Perhaps she's on the verge of death. Who knows? But yeah, up until that point, I had completely forgotten that at this point in the timeline, Darth Vader had redeemed himself and become a benevolent Force spirit. I forgot about that, and you know what? I approve. This could be really interesting. It's cool. She's reunited, and
we'll have to see the new episode because, like, I assume he's going to be a big part of it. I know that they were advertising in select cities. They were showing the 5th episode of Ahsoka in theaters for its premiere. So I'm assuming, like, I've heard that episode 5 is supposed to be like the big one. Which the way it left off, it's fine. I thought the CG or whatever they did to de-age and the effects on Hayden Christensen for the brief seconds we saw him at the end of that last episode did not look good. I did not.
No.
I thought it looked distracting.
It looked exactly like if he was dead and they recreated him with CG. It looked fake and weird. It looked real bad.
I thought that was just his normal face. I didn't really see it that close, I guess.
I don't know. They definitely de-aged him a bit and such.
Yeah,
which I think was done effectively on Mark Hamill. Like the Luke stuff, I've defended in Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. I thought
Luke looks good, but I'm always sad that it wasn't Sebastian Stan because he looks just a fuck like him.
Just cast someone else. I'm so against the de-aging CG. I think it's so stupid.
It's some weird Lucas thing. I don't know, man. He's a weird guy.
So we've all still watched Ahsoka. We're all still watching it. Sounds like we're gonna keep sticking with it, even though it sounds like thoughts are still kind of all over the place. But there sounds like there's good and there's bad, which I guess at least it's something to talk about.
Still don't like Sabine. The droid, I guess, is fine. I know some people are like die hard for Hu Yang or whatever, but I really couldn't give a shit one way or the other. Yeah, I think the idea of Hu Yang's cool. He's like a 1,000-year-old Jedi droid, so he knows all the Jedi lore.
Yeah, that's what I like
think that's
about
really
him.
Dope,
exactly.
but I really don't like the character so much. Yeah, his concept is really cool for sure.
I think Sabine falls victim the most to, like, if you don't know this character from the show, there is nothing about her that's likable in Ahsoka. Because I'm with you. Like, I don't find anything about her to be very interesting or likable, and you know that's the fault of Ahsoka. I guess if they want her
I'm
to
not.
be likable, that's the fault of the show.
All she's done is make mistakes every single episode and screw everything up the entire time. And I don't know how we're supposed to be on her side at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any issue with her, but you're right. She's not. I'm not endeared to her either. At this point, she hasn't. She hasn't grown on me too much. She's fine.
The problem is that I like Balin the most too. Like, I don't
Balin's
know
the
if
best
that's
character.
the goal.
Dude, if I was playing the video game and I came across this, I would be a Balin Padawan. Like, no doubt, I would be. I'm with Balin all the way.
Both
That's
the
my
Dark
storyline.
Jedi and Morgan are fantastic. I love Ahsoka. I think Sabine's fine, and then the show as a whole is good for me. I'm enjoying it. So
All right, well, that's Ahsoka. We can move on. I'll talk real quick about another show, just because I watched the first couple episodes of the live-action One Piece series that has come out on Netflix, which I kind of thought maybe you would have dabbled in this, Jahan. Are you not a One Piece guy?
I'm not a One Piece guy because I don't have that kind of time. It's
I know,
such
that's
a long
what I
show.
hear. I hear
Uh,
it's like 1,000 episodes. Like, good luck
I
catching
can't.
up.
I can't say that I don't have that much. I watched all of Naruto, and that in itself is a chunky experience. I've seen every episode of Naruto. One Piece is greater than that. It's higher than that. People swear by it, man. People swear by it, and I'm inclined to believe that there's something there, given the fan base and how it's kind of unanimously loved by the anime community. Um, I do want to check out the live action, but I would love to hear what you have to say about it first.
Yeah, so let me say this. I have never watched a single minute of the One Piece anime. I have never read a single page of the One Piece manga. So I literally have gone into this super blind, other than knowing that there's pirates and the main character can stretch, that he's got stretchy arms. That's really it. That's what I went into it knowing.
It's not just his
And
arms, I would like to point out, but okay.
yeah, no, his whole body stretches. His whole body is stretchy. Oh yeah, they make that very clear. But again, I didn't know that. In the images I'd seen, he just had stretchy arms. So, but no, he can stretch all over. So that being said, I think the show is actually really fun and stylized, and it's got a lot of bright colors and silly characters, and it's like it truly feels like an anime in live action in the sense of like just how silly it can be, and some of the characters, especially like I didn't realize how well the pirate landscape, lent itself to anime, and the fact that you can just have so many like flamboyant, extravagant characters, just the craziest designs, as pirate leaders. Like it just is so perfect for that. Like there's one named Buggy who's like a crazy clown, who's pretty memorable. There's a guy named Axe Hand, and surprise, he's got an axe for a hand. Uh, but then there's, I believe it's Monkey D. Luffy is the main character, and he's just like this young boy, wide-eyed boy who's super happy-go-lucky and wants to be king of the pirates, and that's his goal, is to find this lost treasure that whoever finds it would become king of the pirates. And yeah, as somebody who has absolutely no ties to any One Piece lore before this, I think that it's pretty fun, and I'll probably continue watching it. Just from the little bit that I've gathered from the online discourse, I know that it sounds like they've compacted a lot of the anime into this first season. Like this first season covers a lot of the show, which is fine with me. It all still seems to make sense and whatnot. But yeah, I would say I just kind of wanted something to watch on a Friday night, and this was in the trending on Netflix, and I had some friends that like One Piece, and I was like, I'll give it a shot, and I'm not mad that I did. I think it's I think it's pretty fun, and it seems like it's doing good numbers for Netflix. I think it's getting a lot of views, which is making it more of a bona fide hit than, say, the Cowboy Bebop show, which promptly got canceled afterwards, which is another beloved anime
Wah,
with a lot of
wah.
fans.
Bummer. I'm still sour about that.
I
I'll
am
never
too,
be
man.
over that.
That was one of the
Cowboy
first
Bebop.
live action anime adaptations that was any good. And
Have you watched it again since it came out?
no, is it good?
Totally holds up. Yeah, it's
Totally.
great the second time. Yeah, it's insane how good it is. It's
It,
totally rewatchable, just like the original Bebop.
it kind of broke my heart, man. It was so good, and like, yeah, I'm hearing from the One Piece community that like they like this, so I guess it must be, if your fan base isn't complaining, then I guess I can't either. I got really soured by the Death Note movie. I turned that off after
Oh, that's a
10
bad
minutes.
movie.
That was so bad.
I've watched that.
It was
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah, that one's not good. Yeah, and there's been a lot of, it's fun on social media because there's a lot of side-by-side images you can find. Like, I know IGN has shared this kind of stuff where it'll be like the character from the anime or from the manga and then what they look like in the show. And like, they're staying pretty true to those character designs and really trying to make it look straight out of those. So I think that, from a fan service perspective, it sounds like those fans are happy, but even for me, for a non-fan, I found it to be fun, so I plan to keep watching, and I would recommend it to both of you because I think y'all might find stuff to like in it too.
I'll probably watch it.
I don't have Netflix right now. Ever since they did the no sharing passwords, I told them they could eat my entire hole, so they don't get my money and they don't get my views.
Your whole hole?
My entire hole, man. My from the all glazed up too. You know what I mean?
All glazed up. Well, that's a perfect segue for Jahan to talk about
From Gary's Butthole. No, I'm just kidding. From a show from the creators of Lost is over. Season 2 is over. They're saying they'll be back for season 3. It ends on quite the cliffhanger. They're starting to hit you with those Lost twists. It's getting like, so for the most part, the rules have been fairly established. Things haven't been changing too much on account of like the supernatural rules of what's going on. The last few episodes of this season, things started changing. Rules started changing, and now everything's different. It ends on a very interesting place. It's very losty. It's very interesting, and I think people should check it out. It is, if you enjoy horror, if you enjoy sort of like thrillers and not knowing what's going on and that kind of thing, like mysteries, it's a very interesting show. I don't know what to equate it to, because it is very unique. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like
And remind
Lost
me-
meets, I don't know.
Isn't this one on
Is it MGM?
like MGM Plus? Yeah. And where do you actually watch that?
Shit.
You can definitely get MGM through a Sling. That's what I'm doing now. I canceled my Hulu. I canceled my Netflix. And
That's what I didn't know if
tried
like,
Sling for a little bit.
do you have to subscribe to MGM Plus directly, or is like MGM Plus content on Prime Video, or
you
is
can
it,
watch
like,
it
is it
on-
somewhere?
You can watch it on the Roku channel, Spectrum TV, MGM Plus. It says Prime Video, Apple TV, or Vudu.
Okay.
So you
can
have a
get it
lot of
through
options.
other services.
Yeah, you can get it through other services. I think if you enjoy the first few episodes, you'll probably, it stays pretty good for the first 2 seasons. So check it out. That's from. I'm enjoying it. I like it a lot. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, check it out.
Awesome.
I'm just now realizing that that Dathomir, the witches of Dathomir and Dathomir, that's where Maul is from. That's where
Yes.
Maul's family is from. That's their planet. So this stuff going on in Ahsoka could be related to that Darth Maul crime syndicate storyline from the Clone Wars, since they're bringing a lot of that over. He has like a whole crime syndicate that reaches all the way to like Tatooine. That's what Maul's up to these days. So that could be cool.
Could be
I
cool.
could do to see some more Zabraks and some more witches of Dathomir. That's what's up. I kind of forgot that was that planet.
Why isn't Morgan one of those spiky people?
She is a human. That's why. She is one of the very few human sisters of Dathomir.
Oh, cool. You looked into it? All
The
right, cool.
Night. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The daughters of Dathomir, the witches, the Night Sisters. She's one of the few human Night Sisters.
Bro, I'm interested. And she's also mother to one of the former Red Power Rangers.
Yo, she looks just like Rita Repulsa, right?
She could be a good Rita Repulsa. But yeah, her son
Every
is
time
actually the Red Ranger from one of the seasons.
That's funny. Every time she's on screen, I'm like, yo, she looks like Rita Repulsa. Like, she's going to make stuff out of clay and stick it on Ahsoka.
Yeah.
The putties come down, and yeah, hell yeah. That's the crossover we need.
It's a lovely putty impression, Jahan. I wish that if anybody who's listening to the audio version, please go seek out the YouTube and just watch Jahan wave his arms and do that. It was quite good. The only other things I have, so we went through all the shows, and usually I have a lot of movies to talk about, but really most of my spare time has been with Starfield. So the only movies I caught in the past week went and saw The Nun 2 in theaters, and to prepare for that, I watched the first Nun movie. Which have you?
Okay, I'll let you finish. But
Go ahead, please, give me.
Was
your
it
question?
awesome? Was The Nun 2 awesome?
No, it wasn't awesome.
What?
Have you seen
It
the
was-
first Nun?
Was it none
No.
too good, Drew?
Very good.
Thank you.
Would you
It's
say
fine.
PU about it? Or PUs?
No,
Oh
no.
boy. Oh boy. You
Oh,
could stick
no.
could you stick this one right in the rectory?
Yeah, there you go. Give it to him.
I must confess I have not seen this movie.
Oh boy. I like the Conjuring movies in general. I like the main Conjuring movies, first, second, and third ones. I've seen some of the Annabelle movies. It's really about it. The Nun character is like a brief moment in The Conjuring 2. And then that moment was creepy enough from that film to get its own whole spin-off movie. And the first one is like, it's all atmosphere and cheap jump scares. Like, essentially, the nun, Valak, the demon, is creepy looking, and they can get some good jump scares out of that. There's a couple memorable scares. And the Nun 2 is really just more of the same. It's very atmospheric, which is nice, but otherwise it's just kind of boring in between occasional jump scares, of which there are some good ones if you're just in the mood for that. But as far as an actual like true quality flick, from like a storytelling perspective, you can find better. But the first Nun movie is currently on Max, and the Nun 2 is currently in theaters. I think that they're both pretty mediocre, like middle of the line horror movies that rely on cheap jump scares. So that's it. That's the Nun movies, and that's all I had for this week.
I watched The Help from 2011.
Tell me what inspired you to watch this one?
Is that the one where Octavia Spencer poops in that pie?
That's the one.
It's exactly the one.
And won an Oscar, mind you, for that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So we've been rearranging the house. So we moved the streaming room downstairs. We moved the bedroom across the hallway. We moved the living room upstairs. So now we have the two TV set up. I'm playing Starfield, minding my own business, and Annie cranks up The Help, and I'm like, what? Because I would never, you know what I mean? I would never put on a period drama film written and directed by Tate Taylor based on Catherine Stockett's novel. I would never put that on, you know what I mean? It was a civil rights movie, and it's about a white female author who goes and talks to The Help, all the black people who are having a horrible life and all of the awful oppression. And it's about that, and she's writing their stories and keeping them anonymous, trying to get them out of the horrible situation they're in. And it was pretty good. It's a pretty good little flick.
You know, it's funny because I saw this movie in theaters. I actually went and saw it with my mother, if I remember correctly. But like Viola Davis and Octavia Spencer are both very memorable from it. Like I remember their performances pretty well, even more than a decade after the fact. And I actually remember Jessica Chastain's performance being pretty memorable as well. Totally forgot Emma Stone's in this movie. And she's like the main character. It's like, isn't it all kind of her perspective?
That's really funny. Yeah, no, I definitely remember her performance from it. And yeah, she is, yes, more or less the main character. Yeah, she's the writer that it's about. I think she would be a really good Mary Jane. I think she has a good Mary Jane face for like investigator Mary Jane.
Well, she
She's
was Gwen
expressive.
Stacy instead.
Yeah, I think she'd be a good Mary Jane though. I know she was back in which one? The 2010s with Andrew Garfield.
I didn't watch The Help, but I did watch the what is it? This 1970s Help Beatles movie, which was a whole trip. So,
Well,
All
Drew,
right.
did you get the memo? Did you watch a Help movie or no?
I didn't. I wish that I had known that this is what was going to happen. But no, I can't say that I did. I'm sorry to disappoint.
I just realized I had
But
watched
you-
that and not talked about it on the podcast yet. So,
What a
you did
perfect
read a
time
book.
to add that in.
no.
But you did read a self-help book, right? So that counts. You wrote a self-help how to ride a bike.
Have you guys seen Help with the Beatles?
No.
No.
I have
So
not.
so it's pretty much pick one of the less funny Austin Powers skits and do it for like 2 hours.
You all is like I really thought we were going to wrap up, and then somehow this has gone from The Help to Help, the Beatles film, and I don't know what other kind of ride y'all are about to take me on. So I'm just strapped in, and
Yeah, we'll take you for a ride every week here on Fresh Out the Podcast.
Strap in for friendship.
Yeah, strap on for friendship.
oh boy, oh boy, let's wrap this up. Episode
Yeah,
103.
yeah,
Let's
strap it on
go.
and wrap it up, Drew. You got the right idea.
There you go. You don't want to
boy.
catch anything
Oh boy.
unless you do. All right. So, anyways, yeah. Hey, thanks for listening to Fresh Out the Podcast, the #1 podcast of friendship. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG. If you're looking for friendship, head this way. If you don't have to every single week. Also, if you're more into tabletop role-playing games and you just want to see me and Jahan goofing off, having a good time, that happens every Thursday and Friday. I believe we're starting an Avatar tabletop role-playing game very soon by Magpie Games in like the next week or two, right, John? So that's exciting. Yeah,
It's
stick
heading
around.
towards
Follow.
the end of the month, but yes.
But the Benders, right?
Twitch.tv.
Not the Navi.
Correct. Avatar
Correct.
Legends, the Avatar The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra, Nickelodeon, TTRPG.